Yeah, this I'm in Mountain View, California, and this is at the heart of the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley has a lot of companies, that really, that gives the technology that we use almost every day, directly or indirectly. This is a technological hotbed. Seeing some of the companies in Silicon Valley, including Google today, I could really feel, why this is such a big ecosystem of everything, from Stanford universities and many other universities to, the tech companies, the venture capital investors. The whole ecosystem is there, just like in Los Angeles, Hollywood, you have the whole ecosystem for making films, right? Right from the ideation to the final film, right? You have studios, you have everything. And then today I'm really happy because after decades of, after using Google products, finally I was able to visit this iconic location of Google. We use Google every day. I mean, for search, for everything. I mean, search, Chrome browser, Android system. Because I was working in China before, and and at that time, before we were setting up an Android delivery center in China. So, and also I also developed an Android app for my content management. So that's the reason I'm really fascinated with Google, and the many ways that Google impacts us directly, indirectly. YouTube. Recently, I started a YouTube channel as well, and then. It really impacts. I mean, every day that probably, if one can say, it will not be a false that, without Google, we can't survive. So that's really iconic, to be seeing. I was seeing the Waymo self-driving cars, and then they have the Nest, home IoT system kind of. It's impacting us in many ways. And, this is the place where, all these, this is the headquarters for those places where, and this is the iconic, a canopy building where, of course, all these tech spots have these iconic buildings where they are all water positive, minimal damage to environment or minimal impact to environment kind of. This is iconic, the canopy building. Yeah, that's kind of the headquarters for Google, and the area around has a lot of, offices of Google. So this is iconic Google headquarters. The Google Experience Center in California, in Mountain View, California. And this is like, the Google, it has 4 different components: the Google Store, the Google, the Huddle, and the pop-up store. And then there is a cafe where I also had a cafe coffee because I was in the cafe. And then we see, this is the Harvest, the kind of the canopy building with, intelligent building with water positivity and, all the great environmental features of, positive to the environment or minimal impact to the environment. And it was spectacular seeing this, Google, because Google impacts our life in many ways. Like every day we use it for search, for the Chrome browser, Android operating system. If you are using a mobile phone, generally it's either Android or, Apple iOS, right? Most of the phones. So if you're using a mobile phone, it is Android. And also back when I was working in China before, many years before, we set up an Android delivery center for Android apps in China. So yeah, I also developed an Android app for my own, content management. And so Google is iconic. Then the Nest IoT devices, and then we have the Waymo self-driving cars I was seeing in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and other places. So Google impacts our life in a wide variety of ways, and this is the iconic hardware canopy building. And these are all, the area around also has a lot of Google buildings. This area in Mountain View, California, it's part of the larger Silicon Valley ecosystem where you have the whole ecosystem from investors to universities to ideators to everything. They all come together and create the great technology companies that impact our everyday lives. I'm at the iconic Google Experience Center in Mountain View, California. This is a part of the Silicon Valley, which you have all the iconic companies. And this is the Google store. There you can visit the Huddle store and, the cafe and, small pop-up store. So it's the place is really, this is an iconic building, water positive building and all those stuff, right? The canopy, the famous canopy building. So it's really, we use Google products, Google for search, YouTube, Chrome browser, and many other Google products that we use in our everyday lives. And for me, it was particularly iconic because I've been thinking to come here for many years. So it's finally fulfilled. So this is an iconic Google office, and this area has many other Google offices as well. I'm at the Google Visitor Experience Center. There are a lot of things like Huddle, and there's a cafeteria also. Having some lemonade kind of drink, and this is exciting because for years, decades, I've been using Google's products, Google, YouTube, and all the other products, right? And then visiting this Google Experience Center is a real at the center of the Silicon Valley. Today, I visited many Silicon Valley companies, and I was amazed actually, the kind of calm environment and the environment that it's just right for developers and all the intelligent and brilliant and smart people that come out to work here. I also visited the Stanford University, and now I'm visiting this Google Experience Center. So it's truly a really remarkable experience.